Hello, this is Jason Marshall, and this video is on the Resource tab, where your resources are located. This is ConnectED, the online support piece for both teachers and students. ConnectED is an online experience that has both your textbook, your resource materials, and also gives you the ability to manage and communicate with your students. It's known for being very colorful, very intuitive, very teacher and student friendly. In ConnectED, you're going to see 5 tabs at the top: Home, Plan and Present, Manage and Assign, Assess, and Resources. The nice thing about ConnectED is that everything is organized by chapter and lesson. All of your resources in one place. When I taught, my resources were all over the place. I might have a folder for enrichment, I might have a folder for labs, another one for homework. But as time went on, those resources became fragmented, disorganized, and I never knew what was where. Our resources are always organized. Let's go to the 5th tab, which is Resources. When I click on Resources, since we were in Chapter 7, Section 3, you will see resources specific to Chapter 7, Section 3. Those resources will show up here in thumbnail photographs, and you'll get an idea of what kind of resources are available to you. If you put your cursor over the title of the resource, a blue pop-up box will come up letting you know a little bit more about the resource contained within. If I would like, sure, I could click on the resource, and that resources will come up. In this case, it is a self-check quiz. I'll go ahead and close that out. Notice over here on the left, I could isolate or narrow it down to specific types of resources. So wherever you see this check button or icon, those mean self-check quizzes, like the one we just saw a moment ago. If I go back to all resources, all of the buttons will show up again. If I click on the Resources button, which is a green tab, those are the print resources or your worksheets. And all of those will show up over here in one screen. Let me go back to all resources. Again, all of the icons will appear again. And I have the opportunity to choose other things like vocabulary support, the science notebook, and any interactives which will show up with the blue icon. All of the resources organized by chapter and lesson. As I scroll down, you see I have 12 results on this page, and 2 pages of resources that support this specific chapter and this specific lesson. You need to be aware of something in ConnectED, and that is that resources are also available to you at different other parts of the chapter. So we're currently in Chapter 7, Section 3. There's also a Chapter 7 overview. There's also a Chapter 7 study guide, a Chapter 7 assessment. And you'll find resources in all of those locations. So if I go to the overview, notice other resources come up. Different lab manuals, different answer keys, and opportunities for hands-on activities. If I go to the study guide, yet another set of resources come up. Vocabulary flashcards, some vocabulary e-games that I might be able to use or assign to my students. And then when I go to assessment, an entirely different set of resources come up. Online test practice, and other different types of leveled assessments that I can implement in my classroom. But let's go back to Chapter 7, Section 3, where we were before. These resources are both print and digital, so they're mixed in. So if I want to take a look at the Reading Essentials, which is a print piece, all I have to do is click on the thumbnail photograph, and I'm able to do that. This is something that's printable anytime, anywhere. It's also deliverable to my students digitally, and we'll show more about how to do this in a separate video. I'm going to close out this print resource, and I'm going to go to the second page and take a look at one of the digital resources you'll find in your resource section. That resource is called Cyberscience. Cyberscience is a new partner with McGraw-Hill Education. These are 3-dimensional investigations that you'll see scattered throughout the programs, whether it be biology, physical science, chemistry, or physics. I happen to have this Cyberscience open. You probably have an idea of what this is, but with my cursor, notice that I can manipulate it and show it from any orientation. Your students have access to this at home as well when they go on ConnectED. There are some tools over here to the left So at any time, I might want to give students a hint as to what this object is, and I can do that through this tool. And I can even write on the screen and give students a challenge. My challenge to them is, what am I? What is this object? And maybe have your students respond. There are many cyber science investigations to choose from. If I click on this green button here, one of my options is New Session. And when I click on New Session, take a look at the different cyber science investigations you have to choose from. Whether it is human anatomy, zoology, let's continue to scroll down, paleontology, chemistry, microbiology, earth science, mechanical makes for nice STEM projects, botany or astronomy, there'll always be a cyber science investigation to support you. Let's go back to the Resource tab. Again, the important thing about the Resource tab is that it's organized by chapter and lesson, and I can filter to the specific type of resources that I want. If I want to do a keyword search here, I'm able to do that here in the upper right. So if I want to type in cells and pull up all the resources that support cells, those will populate down below. The last thing I want to share with the Resource tab is two things. One, you have the ability to make favorites. So if this cyber science investigation that we saw a moment ago is a favorite of yours, click on the little star and it will be added to your favorites section over here on the left. Notice I had 0 favorites, now I have 1. I can also at any time decide to assign these resources to my students. So let's say I want to assign to my students this brain pop activity. If that's something I want them to see when they go on ConnectED as part of their homework assignment, I click on this little pinwheel or gear. Wherever you see a resource, you'll see a pinwheel or gear. And when you open up the pinwheel or gear, the last option will be Assign this resource. When I click on Assign this resource, it will take me to my middle tab called Manage and Assign, which will allow me to assign this resource to all of my students or to specific students as I desire. That assignment functionality, that pinwheel capability is available for every resource that you see in the resource section of ConnectED.